Here we've got this Hayward AquaVac 500. It's not working properly. Previous owner thought it was a power cord issue. By the way, if you're wondering, it's 24 volts. It's the only thing that goes through two wires in there. So let's turn it on its shortest setting. And you'll see that it comes on. The blades up here will spin. So the motor does spin, but then it shuts off immediately. You'll see the motor spinning. And it'll do that twice, probably some sort of a test, and then it just shuts off. Is there a sensor or maybe something else? You remove the little cover, this wire snakes through here, and then you have to unscrew this counterclockwise, and it's a little tricky. I just used these and put them in the holes and screwed it counterclockwise and pulled it out. Another guy's video showed that these were crusty, and that was a problem with his because this little breach in the covering allowed some water to sneak in there over time and corrode the terminals. That does not seem to be the case with this one. So let's see about voltage. Okay, we hooked up our voltmeter to it, and let's turn it on and see what happens. Okay. So it should be coming on here in a second and giving us some voltage readings. And there we go, 35.4 volts. Yes, I have them backwards. Positive is on the side with the little nub on it. And let's see if it just remains and stays on. Okay, I did find an issue. We've got 35.5 volts. And as you can see, when I lift this cable, it's worn here, lift it up to 0, and I lower it down to 35. So that means there is a short in the wiring over here. Alright, so we have repaired the electrical line coming from the unit and ran it through here. We've got shrink tube that has a special sealant. When it shrinks, it seals it all up on all sides to go over all the repairs. So hopefully this extra sealed repair won't have any water leakage. I'm going to test it here. We're about to test it. Okay, we have fully fixed the cable issue with a breach in the cable. We took it out, cut out the bad end, soldered it back together, and triple shrink tubed it with special shrink tube that has a glue that comes out, so it's nice and sealed. The voltage 35.8. You lift the cable on the back. As you can see, it is not changing or dropping or anything. So the cable issue has been fixed. Now, okay, well, the pool robot is working. I can't tell if it's moving around or not, but it's definitely pumping. The filter is pumping and it looks like it's moving. Okay, so I fixed the power cord and now it comes on. You can see it's bugging, but it doesn't move anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. And then it'll shut off after like maybe a minute or something and then turn back on. See, you can see that it shut off for a second. And then it kicks on, comes back on, and it keeps doing that. And now it's back on again. Right, well, update. I have this thing in the hot tub, and I'm standing here and suddenly it started making a new noise, and the wheels are actually turning now, where they weren't before. You can see the wheels turning in there. Yep, suddenly this thing is on the move. So I can take it and try putting it in the pool and see what happens. Cool. Okay, we've got it in the dirty pool. As you can see, I've got a bunch of dead moss all on the bottom. And this thing needs to be vacuumed out. But let's go ahead and turn it on. Right there, and see what happens. You can see that it kicks on, starts making a wake, but unfortunately it doesn't move around. It just sits in one spot, sadly. So I'm gonna have to pull it out of the water and see if we can't discover why the wheels aren't turning. Okay, got it out of the pool, got the filter portion out of it. As a quick note, when I fixed the wire, it shortened it a little bit, and I couldn't get it to snake around these nubs the way it was. And so I just put it in a little bit different way. And I left this metal rod, I forgot what that's called, but that's to keep interference and electrical interference away from the electronics or something like that. But I also, this needs to be tightened down pretty snug to seal the rubber gaskets in the bottom, and that way the water doesn't get down into your electrical connection. I just wanted to make a note on that so you guys know. And also, I put Vaseline all over it to help keep some of the water out of it as well. And the Vaseline also helped me get my repaired section of hose through this rubber fitting as well. So I just wanted to add that information in there for you. And because this wire ended up being a little shorter, like I said, I couldn't snake it around there like it was, but I did get it in there. And another YouTuber guy told me that the motor that spins the wheels is on this side. You can see it down in there, that white shaft, and this is the rubber belt. That the motor pin, there's a pin on the end that's sheared or messed up or something, possibly. So we're gonna take it apart and look at it. You can look up his video, but basically he said you pull these little white rubber things out, and then there's some clips that you can squeeze together, and this whole side will come off, and all of its parts. Okay, and so yeah, let's see here. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Okay, that's it right there. Set it off to the side. And then these two black things on mine, I think his weren't black, but you can squeeze them together and the side will come off. You got to make sure you take off both rubber things. Okay, pushing these together, yep, on this side and this side, and pushing them, and this whole thing comes off. How cool is that, huh? It's out of there. Just catching a little bit on the gear. But yeah, that's it. And then you can see nothing here except wheels. And here's the gears. This belt, which I've seen online, you can buy that belt, but gee, it looks like it would last forever. So I don't know. Okay, so the pin that goes bad or needs to be replaced is inside here, and all of this stuff, apparently this is a bearing here. Okay, so remember that that's on the outside. These all slide off like that, and then of course the belt and all of that will come off. Okay, so then the pin was behind this. I think he pulled out on this somehow. I haven't got it out yet, but as you can see, it turns freely. So obviously that is the case, and when I do pull outward on it, I can feel like it's grabbing the pin, but if I push in it, it slides. So the problem is definitely inside. Oh, I can see it's cracked right there. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing apart. Okay, so I took the pool robot out. There are these little rubber things here that go here and here on this side, and you just grab them and pull them out, and then you squeeze together these things from the inside, and this whole side pops off. And then you've got this whole gear scenario. You can see these little teeth on here go against those little teeth on there. I believe the bearing was visible from the outside when this goes back together. So just to help you out here. And my problem is this, as you can see, it turns freely almost, and on the inside it's not supposed to. So there is a little pin supposedly in there. Can I get that to focus on there, I wonder? Let's see here. Yeah, there's a little pin in there. And you can see mine's cracked as well, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. To get it off, I was told to take a screwdriver and just kind of pry it outward. Hopefully I don't break it. And it should pop out. Yeah, it seems like it. There you go. It popped out. Little pieces of the pin are broken. As you can see, there is a metal groove shaft bed here for it to go in there. And let's go ahead and, this bearing seems to be okay, best I can tell. The end of the shaft looks like that. Is that normal? I don't know. Here's another part of that pin right here. Looks kind of like a bolt or a nut. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to take these pliers and try and spin that shaft. And it doesn't spin, so it's not spinning. But you can see, if I can get it to focus there, there is down here a little hole in the side of that shaft, and it goes all the way through it, and this pin will fit sideways through that hole, and this will go over the whole thing. So and I heard that little pin, if you buy it from Hayward, it's pretty expensive. It's like $25 or something. We can probably put some sort of a small nut and bolt, looks like what they had on here before. And maybe I'll go down to the hardware store and see what I can find that'll fit in there and get back to you. Here, I found the other piece of that pin. As you can see, it is just a screwdriver head and basically a nut with a bolt on the end. So keep this middle part at the very least so you know what size, or order the part from Hayward. I'm going to go down to the hardware store and just find a little nut and bolt this size if I can. Okay, it looks like the 632 by 1/2 inch stainless steel right there. Just gonna fit in there just barely. And the shaft size is pretty darn close to that. Okay, so the 632 seems like the right bolt size, but the nuts will not fit into that shaft. So maybe I can take this 632 and modify it and cut off this flange and just use the round part to keep the nut in there and tight. I guess we can try that. It's only, what is it, 23 cents. It's not stainless though, but at least the bolt part or screw part will be stainless. Alright, well, I got my little thing here, and I used these cutters here to snip off all the extra and even part of that, and it looks like that it will fit into here. Now let's see if it'll fit through that shaft. Well, lo and behold, as you can see here, it fit through the shaft. It was a little snug, but it pushed right through. So yep, now I just got to get this little makeshift nut on there and put the thing back together. Cool. Okay, well, it fit on there, and if you can see I got my little nut on there. To help it focus, I'll put my finger down here. But got my little makeshift nut on there, and as tight as I could, and with the way I cut off the end of it with the shears here, it helps to make it tight on there. So now we've got this thing, and just in case you didn't know, that metal piece comes in and out of there. As far as this crack goes, the only thing I could do, because it has to slip in through this hole, is put like a clamp, a hose clamp on it after I get it in here, and then I could put a hose clamp in and tighten it down maybe. But for the moment, I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And we'll go ahead and shove this down over that shaft. And it should fit. There you go. It went in and it fits. It no longer turns freely. So then I think this bearing's got to be pushed in again. Okay, I had to use 2 hands and push that thing in there nice and tight. And then this gear goes on there. Yep. And this bearing goes on there. Okay. And then you've got these. So this is going to need to go over the top of that, like so. And then up under these, like so. If I remember right, it looked something like this. Yep. The bearing goes on here. And then these go on. And you got to make sure that these little notches are towards the back surface. I need both my hands for this. Okay, I think I got it all back together. And if I didn't mention, it was a little tricky getting that nut on there. Using some needle nose to hold one end, and a little Allen wrench tool on the other end, which kind of worked. But I saw the other guy who did a video on this. He loosened the motor up and brought it up so he could get in there. But anyway, we got it. It's on there. It's all back. This part's all back together. Now let's go ahead and put the sides back on. Side. Okay, side didn't want to go down until I kind of turned the wheels a little bit. And then I think that it will go down and clip into the little clips. And yes, it has clipped into the little clips. Alright, so we got it back together. Got the little pins pushed through and the rubber clips on. And now we're going to put the filter in it. And here we go. We'll set the filter in there. And it clips down. Everything should be together. Close the hood or lid or whatever you want to call that. Okay. And I think it's time to give it a go. Okay, so we got it in there. It looks like it's kind of floating up on one end. Alright, let's go ahead and turn it on. It does its little flashing thing, and then it comes on. So let's go over here and see.
That thing
see it come on.
There it
is. It kicked on.
And oops, it wanted to move.
It's blowing
water.
And is it moving? It looks like it's moving.
It wanted to move.
I can't tell for sure if it's moving or not.
It's not what it is. Wow,
well, there it goes. It's moving. It's on its way.
Oh,
so and it stopped. And it backed up. Oh. So it moves forward
and back.
And backs up. Is that normal behavior? Leave a comment in the comment section, please.
Ooh, but